We, as representatives of the good people of Ghana, have an obligation to protect the moral fiber of Ghanaian society, to promote the cohesion and unity of our country, and more importantly, to preserve its time-tested cultural practices and beliefs.
And Top Story is brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. My name is Ernest Manu. Tonight, some members of parliament denied visas in the wake of their push for the passage of the anti-gay bill are now going public with their concerns. Joy News is learning some members of parliament, especially those on the minority side, are being denied visas by some embassies. This is fueling the suspicion that already tough diplomatic measures are being adopted by the foreign missions in the wake of the push for the passage of the anti-gay bill. Just 2 days ago, the minority chief whip Muntaka Mubarak disclosed that he had received some complaints in that regard and warned that no amount of intimidation will stop Parliament from passing the bill. He spoke on Kumasi-based radio station Ebusia FM.
Say any embassy that uses this specifically, say, because of we, say, be a Sam George, we will organize a demonstration to close that embassy.
Hey.
Yes. You can't come and impose your
more commitment.
Yes. We won't, you can't come and impose your culture on us. If you would tell us, say, the reason why you won't give Sam George, you won't give honorable this, honorable that, because when him say Ghana Constitution, say me as a member of parliament, the American of flaw knows piano. You can't hold me responsible anywhere. So if you want to use that, then you cannot be in our country. We will have to demonstrate until the foreign ministry closes down that ministry, that embassy. You can't come and sit in our country and do what you want. We are not forcing you say, yeah, pay, but you won't mean be share so. But also, what I say, members of parliament from our country cannot visit your country. We will also ensure that nobody from your country can visit our country. That's why I like Nigeria. Nigeria is very, very emphatic about that. You put a sanction, they put similar. We are sending notice to our foreign ministry. Be ready. Anybody, any embassy that thinks they can use this as a way of threatening any of our members of parliament, our foreign ministry will insist that embassy leaves, shutdowns and leaves.
I see.
Or the same measure should be put. So, okay, say you will not allow Ghanaians to go there because of the law I have passed. We shouldn't allow any of their citizens to also come to our country.
That is the minority chief with Muntaka Mubarak. Well, Joy News has learnt of at least 3 MPs who have suffered these visa denials, which they consider unfortunate given the circumstance. One of them, Alhassan Sweeney, MP for Tamale Central, gave me this interview a while ago. He says the Netherlands embassy denied him visa on the basis that he failed to prove significant social and economic ties to Ghana to guarantee his return to the country. This is the Member of Parliament for Tamale South. Now, he believes this was done to deliberately provoke him and has appealed the decision, after which he will officially write to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Listen.
I am hesitant because the correspondence to me did not state so. I am also somebody who considers myself to be very reflective and fair-minded, and will want to give the embassy the benefit of the doubt and assume that perhaps the protocol officer who processed my documents may have, left out something that led to the conclusion, unfortunate as it is, that the embassy reached with regards to my application. I have, however, appraised myself with the information that he provided the embassy, and I am still unable to understand why the embassy would have ignored my status as a member of parliament of the sovereign state of Ghana, with responsibility to my beloved constituency, the Tamale North constituency, ignored my existing and valid visas to the UK and the United States of America, and my previous several records of travel to other countries where I never overstayed, and to have ignored my ties to my family and indicate that they were denying me the visa on the basis that I failed to prove significant, whatever that means, economic and social ties to Ghana that will make me return to Ghana after my intended visit. I find it deliberately, done to provoke me and aimed at undermining, state officials and the diplomats from Ghana. And it is not a matter that I intend to take lightly. I have therefore appealed the decision, and I await, the outcome of my appeal. And whatever the outcome is, I will be writing officially to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to deal with this gross disrespect to state officials, and for that matter, the attempt to undermine the diplomatic status of our country.
Is this the first time you're traveling to Netherlands?
Yes, but it is not the first time I have applied for a Schengen visa.
Okay.
And have traveled to other parts of Europe. And like I have indicated, I have, a very rich travel record to many parts of the world. And I have never, in any case, overstayed my visits to any of the countries that I have been to.
But given that some of your colleagues, whom we understand, have suffered similar fate, is there a probable cause that this may actually be the reason, the denial?
I have not spoken to my colleagues to understand the circumstances under which they may have suffered a similar fate. But I will say that anyone is forgiven to think that this decision to deny me a visa is linked to my open association with the bill that is currently before Parliament. But I still remain hesitant to link it to it.
From what we know, some of your colleagues, again, even on the minority side, have suffered this, and not just them, extended to their families. Are you the only, for want of a better expression, victim in this circumstance?
Yes, the application was just for me and not my family.
Will this in any way change your overt support, advocacy for the bill to be passed?
It is so lame, and it will be a shame to think that diplomats from other countries that may be in support of LGBTQ and intend to promote it in Ghana will consider denial of visa to foreign countries as a penalty that Ghanaians are unwilling to pay for preserving our proper human and moral values as a people. It will be so lame and so shame for them to think that that penalty is something we are unwilling to pay. Nothing whatsoever, as we speak, can be, if you like. I think that this approach will rather just make some of us more intransigent and more committed to ensuring that we preserve the values that we consider Ghanaian and values that we consider culturally sound and appropriate to be adopted by the state and promoted as required by Article 39 of our 1992 Constitution.
So that is the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Al-Hassan Suhini there. Forgive us, portions of that sound that distorted, but his position was very clear on this. Let's bring you more on this. My colleague Maxwell Adbaba joins me in the studio. Maxwell, you have seen documents regarding the visa application of the Member of Parliament in question. First of all, there is a cover letter from Parliament. He indeed told me in that interview that the protocol officer facilitated the processes. But you have a copy of that letter from Parliament. What does it say?
Okay, so it is signed by the head of Parliamentary Relations and Protocol, and he signed it for the clerk to Parliament, and it's signed by Richard Kwame Champon, and it says application for entry visa. The Parliament of the Republic of Ghana has the honor to request the Netherlands Embassy to issue an entry visa to Honorable Suhini Saibu Al-Hassan, Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency, to enable him travel to the Netherlands for a short visit. Please find attached his passport and a duly completed visa application for your attention.
He's already told us in that interview that the Netherlands embassy said he could not prove strong economic and social ties to this country, for which reason he would return to Ghana should he be given the visa.
Yeah, he wouldn't return
to Ghana.
Yeah.
But you have more on that, the reason cited by the embassy.
Exactly. So from the documents that we've seen, it says sufficient justification for the purpose and circumstances of the intended stay was not provided. You were unable to provide sufficiently convincing or verifiable information about the purpose and circumstances of your stay. Consequently, it has not been established with sufficient certainty that all the conditions for issue of a visa have been met. It continues to say that your intention to leave the territory of the member state before the expiry of the visa could not be established with sufficient certainty. There is insufficient evidence that you have significant social or economic ties to your country of origin or country of habitual residence. As a result, your prompt return following the conclusion of your intended stay cannot be assured. In this connection, it should be noted that one of the basic criteria for the issue of visas is the prevention of illegal migration. In determining whether there's a risk of illegal migration, immigration authorities examine the local and general situation in an applicant's country of origin or country of habitual resident and an applicant's specific personal situation. So it goes on to also state that since it has not been demonstrated or established to a reasonable degree of credibility that you have a regular and substantial income in your country of origin or habitual residence to support yourself.
Regular and substantial income in your country. Okay.
Exactly. Residence to support yourself. It is not felt to be sufficiently probable that you will return to your country of origin promptly, due in part to the local or general situation in your country of origin or habitual residence, and also of your weak social ties there. In this connection, it should be noted that, so it goes on and on and on.
Very well. That's my colleague Maxwell Abdullah bringing us details. We'll be joined shortly by the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Okujeto Ablakwa, on this. But today, the minority held a news conference on the Proper Human, Sexual and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021. We'll hear from the minority leader on this, but the Member of Parliament for Adaklo in the Volta region, Kwame Gavins Adboja, has also described as unfortunate the threat by some foreign missions to deny MPs supporting the bill visa to their countries. Listen.
This is one issue that you can sense the mood of the country, irrespective of the educational background, the cultural background, or the religious background of a Ghanaian. You will realize that a vast majority of them are averse to the attempt to legalize what people call gay rights. I've always said that when you hear threats from the West that, if we don't do this, I heard even university professors, and I cringe that until we legalize gay rights in this country, we are not civilized. I wonder what those professors teach their students. Alton, the fact that your media house is engaging members of parliament, it's a topical issue in our country. Nobody is beating anybody up. It's a sign of our democratic credentials. at the end of the day, the president is not going to decree that legalize or not legalize. It is the representatives of the people of Ghana, the 275, that will make that determination. That is what democracy is about. I've asked somebody, America is, a citadel of democracy. America opts out of the international criminal justice system. Do you believe that means that America doesn't want justice? Because they know their operations around the world might create a situation where their citizens abroad might be caught up in it. So they are not part of it. But we still believe America is a country of freedom and justice, isn't it? This issue about gay rights is an issue that it appears the majority of Ghanaians are not happy about. We feel we have more serious issues to deal with. So I encourage Ghanaians that, like we said, don't actually attack or actually see anybody speaking in favor of gay rights as the enemy. Neither should those people also see people who are working to prevent the passage, legalization of that as the enemy. It is simply the case that in a democracy, we do these things, and what happens on the floor becomes the will of the people of this country.
Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Mr. Ablakwa, we are grateful that you could join us here on Top Story. So we at least know that three of your members, Alhassan Suhini, has gone public with his situation, telling us about how he's been denied visas. This is all coming in the wake of the bill, which is being pushed by some members of Parliament, with your side, many members on your side pushing it. Does this come to you as a surprise?
Yeah, good evening. Very much so. It is important to stress that members of Parliament in the Republic of Ghana are holders of diplomatic passports. So it is expected that diplomatic courtesies, consular services will be extended to them at the highest level. And that has been the tradition. When you listen to the colleagues who have been denied visas and you go through their documentations, which I have done because they have forwarded copies to me, there is a lot amiss. We are not being told why suddenly what did not used to happen in the past is now where legislators, duly elected, holders of diplomatic passports, are being treated this way. And in the particular case of the Honorable Alhassan Suhini, it comes to me as a big surprise because within that same period, a number of my colleagues and I responded to an invitation from the same Dutch Foreign Ministry. And indeed, as I speak to you, I'm speaking to you from Holland. Our visas were processed. A number of colleagues, including staff of Parliament, were granted visas. So when within the same environment, the same period of time, a number of MPs, including my humble self, are granted visas. And then persons who have their names on this bill are being denied visas. The correlation, the suspicion becomes heightened. And that is why it is important that these matters do not degenerate into a full-blown diplomatic row. The Dutch embassy will have to provide answers as to why the Honorable Alhassan Suhini and the other colleagues of ours who are being denied visas, some of them are being denied dates for interviews. And you see, you need to understand
but
that
Honorable
members,
just
members
before we
of
proceed on
parliament,
this,
don't just fancy traveling. I mean, over the last 8 to 10 years, virtually all my travels have been based on invitation. These are, official programs. There are events you are invited to. It's not as though members of parliament, just want to be out of the jurisdiction. If you look at the case of Honorable Alhassan Suhini, he has 2 valid visas in his passport, at least 2 valid visas to the United States of America and to the United Kingdom. So to conclude that this is somebody who doesn't have strong social ties and may not return to Ghana, it's such an affront. Look, this is a sovereign nation. Lawmakers duly elected must be allowed the free hand to think for their country, to represent their people, and to promulgate laws that are in the interest of the people they serve and they represent. If you have any concerns, you can, through diplomatic channels, make those concerns known. But to use visa consideration as a weapon, to weaponize visa decisions, is totally wrong. It's so primitive. It's taking us back to the Cold War era, and we cannot accept that. This will not be done in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in Nigeria, in Kenya. This will not be accepted. So I do hope that our foreign ministry will see the affront that this is and immediately demand answers from the embassies that are engaged in such primitive and reckless conduct. If not, if they do not provide satisfactory answers and they do not apologize to the legislative arm of government, then we must kick in reciprocity. The principle of reciprocity must apply.
You mean you should respond in equal measure, where you deny visas to members, citizens of the Netherlands and, coming into the country?
In diplomatic relations, that is what happens. Look, it is about how well we relate to each other. Cordiality, mutual respect is earned, and it must be both ways. So you cannot have a situation where you treat members of parliament, holders of diplomatic passports, in this very unacceptable manner, and then you will expect that when your officials or your businessmen are traveling in our direction, all the consular courtesies that they deserve, particularly holders of similar passports, diplomatic passports, will receive the kind of courtesies they deserve. That is expected of holders of such passports.
Mr. Blackwell, Parliament
totally
resumes
wrong.
next week. Parliament resumes next week. Will you table this officially before the committee and also to get the Foreign Affairs Ministry to provide some answers?
Absolutely. I can confirm to you that already all kinds of discussions have begun behind the scenes. We have also made contact with the Right Honourable Speaker's office, and this is a matter that the Speaker too has a very serious view of. And when the House resumes, you can expect that the legislative arm of government will not take this matter lightly. We will let these embassies know that our work must be done without fear or favor. Visa considerations cannot be weaponized and used against. In any case, most of the travels we carry out are based on invitations from these countries.
Very well. Mr. Blackwell, I'm grateful that you could join us all the way from Holland here on Top Story. That's the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Let me indicate that we tried reaching out to the chairman and also to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We did not get any body to speak to us readily. Once we do, we'll bring you that interview. But let me speak quickly to Edu Nasir. He is an international relations consultant joining us here here on Top Story. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Top Story. How do you suggest this be handled? Already, the MPs are not happy and they wish that government would respond in equal measure if this is not reversed.
Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity and good evening to your listeners. I think that the call for retaliation is something that we need to take a very good look at it, in the sense that you need to ask yourself if we need to respond in that order. Okay, what are we using? What front are we coming from? That's the point. If you say you are retaliating, on what grounds?
Are you suggesting that we don't have the gravitas, as it were, to respond and to take such an action?
Yeah, I mean, again, if you a critical look at international relations and you have our diplomats and years of experience and everything, it is times like this that you obviously need the expertise, coming to the table and sort of coming out with measures. I do not think that it is right for us to retaliate. I mean, I know people talk about the fact that these things cannot be done in Nigeria or Saudi Arabia or in most of these Arab countries. But the question is, what do you hold that you can actually stand up and say, mention some of these countries and say, we are going to retaliate based on, the position you've taken. We do not have as much, power as Saudi Arabia or any of the Gulf countries. We do not have as much power as Nigeria, even, to be taking Nigeria as a country in Africa. So the point is that we do not have that much strength in terms of where we can actually say we want to sort of go ahead with, retaliating what these, power countries are doing. We don't. And I think that it is better that we go to the table, find ways and means, talk to our career diplomats, the experts, and use all the years of the experience and find much more meaningful way to go about this. The whole idea of visa, these visa refusals and to our members of parliament and everything, there is still a way. And I do believe that is basically what diplomacy stands for.
Very well.
We on the street may probably go ahead and say things that we want to say, oh, let's go ahead and do this, let us stop their experts from coming in or nationals of other diplomats from coming in. But the point is that diplomats don't see things that way and they don't do things that way. And this is why we need them in this crucial time to actually come to the table and then sort of lead the country in a manner that is acceptable by international standards.
Very well. Thank you so much. That's Edu Nasir, an international relations consultant. That's it for Top Story, brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. My name is Ernest Manu. Evans Mensah is coming up next with Ghana Connect, still on this controversial bill. Stay with us.